I remember, Vinny Pazienza, as it was happening, I grew up watching this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just unbelievable as you see him. I ran into Vegas one time with the bolts in the head and everything.
You're kidding.
No, I'm telling you the truth.
The first person who've ever told me that.
Is that right? Yeah. I mean, unbelievable true story. What was the main thing that made you feel like you wanted to tell this story to the world?
I mean, well, you saw it in firsthand. I mean, the fact that he chose the halo over the spinal fusion to do what? To do a job. He could have done 10 other things. He already had a successful boxing career. I just don't know anyone, and I don't have anything in my life that I care enough about that I would risk paralysis for. So, very intrigued by the will that this guy had to do this thing that he loved, which he'd already been successful in.
Right.
Why not just give it up at that point?
What was the biggest challenge and maybe the biggest responsibility that you wanted to make sure that you got this story right and did it justice?
The truth is that Vinny was so happy that we were making the movie that I never even thought about that. Like, he was so grateful that this was finally happening. Nobody was thinking like, well, I hope we get it right for him. We were just thinking, we gotta make our days. Like we were just, our concerns were so much more literal and like in front of our face, and rather than like whether we were gonna disappoint the subject of the film. So yeah, it was, our worries were all logistical, man. 24 days, $6 million. We were just running scared every day.
Talk about Miles Teller. I mean, he proved he had the goods in Whiplash. What, in your mind, made him the perfect Vinny Pazienza?
Well, I didn't get to see Whiplash before I hired him.
Oh, you didn't?
No. I saw him in this movie, Spectacular Now, that I really liked. He had depth, he had range, and even in the lighter stuff. I mean, there's moments in Footloose where I'm like, this kid is legit. That, accompanied with the fact that he looks the way he does, that he's not a pretty boy, that he fits in Cranston, that he's got the scars. Everything else about this movie is very authentic. We shot it in a very real place where all these events happen. We couldn't have a guy that didn't look the part.
And when you have a cast of characters like you had, deep talent, for you, how fulfilling is that as a director? You could be the quarterback out there leading these troops.
Yeah, well, it's huge. I mean, casting's always been a fun part of my professional experience. I got Meryl Streep to do the last one, and Vin and Ben before that. So it's exciting, and it's no longer nerve-wracking. What it is like a crutch for me. So yeah, Kieran Hines and Katie Seagal, they're great. But you know what that really means for me? It means I don't have to do a ton of work to get them prepped and to get them to show up. So I can worry about how I am going to make a 24-day schedule, knowing that when Kieran and Katie get to set, they just are going to nail it.
When it was all said and done and it's up on the screen, what did Vinny say to you?
He cried, man. He cried straight through the movie, held my hand. He kept turning to me and go, that really happened. I'm like, I know, Vinny, you told me that when we were like doing research. No, but that happened. I was like, I know, you told me 4 months ago. The interesting thing is that he didn't cry at like the big moments that you'd expect, like the car crash, the big wins, the big losses. He cried like when his dad was like bathing him in the tub. That's how we knew he got it right, because he can look up, he can YouTube any of those other big moments, even stuff with him with the halo on. I don't think he thought we were gonna recreate those like small, tender moments to that detail, and it totally threw him and it moved him. So that's when I was like, okay, we got it, we did it.